Well, another great plumbing project is underway. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but we're getting the water line run down to the shop finally. It's only been over a year since we put the shop up, but we just got the pad poured this morning for the kiln. The kiln is set to show up in a couple of days, and we've got to get a water line laid down to it because the vacuum pump is water cooled. Okay, so anyway, the water line's been needed to go to the shop anyway for the bathroom down there. We don't have any running water in the shop. So that's needed to happen anyway, but the kiln is now the added incentive to get that done. So where we're at now, and thank God for this canopy because it is hot and sunny today, we are right in front of the pump house. This water line down here in the ground, this is my main water supply to the house. It's 1.25 inch PVC, and it runs over under the sidewalk, and then it comes up over here beside the slab actually and turns, because our pressure tank used to sit right there. Now it comes up and turns. It actually reduces down to 1 inch, and then it goes up inside the wall and goes into the manifold. We have just built a new manifold for out here. We're going to be installing this, I guess you just call it a box, a subterranean access box. Usually this is what would be used for, like, your water meters in the city, but we're actually just going to use it for a valve box. And so we're going to be splicing in this manifold right here. I'm just letting the glue set up on it right now. Hold, what, baby?
Broody.
What about Broody? Oh, another one's Broody?
Yeah, but her babe, one of her baby chicks has always had to put it tied.
What, really?
Mm-hmm. She got 3 more.
I'll have to go look. So anyway, this manifold is going to sit down inside of here, just like that. And so we're going to have this valve here will go off to the shop. That valve there will be an auxiliary, just in case we ever want to have something in the future go down towards the driveway, put a hydrant down there. I've mentioned before in one or more videos that eventually I'd like to have some hydrants on the corners of the clearing. God forbid we ever have to fight a fire. We'll have some, points where we can hook up a hose out away from the house. And then you got a main valve here, which is going to go back down to the house. And so, of course, right now, I can shut a valve off in the pump house and shut off the whole house. But we have to be able to intercept that now here to where if something happens at the house, I can shut the house off, but we can still have water to the shop or to the auxiliary. So everything has a control. So we're to the point now. I've got all the manifold kind of pre-built, preset. Now's the scary part where we have to cut our main water line. When we do, it's going to drain everything from the house back into this hole. So we're going to have to get some scoops or something and be scooping water out of that hole. It's going to turn into a big muddy mess. But just as quick as we can get it cut out of there, we will glue 2 elbows on, and then we'll set that whole manifold down in place, and then we're just waiting on it to cure.
Yeah.
Well, it's in. For what it's worth. I think it actually looks really cool, and I'm happy we kind of figured out this design, because we're going to have to do this exact same thing pretty much down at the shop. Where this line here is going to come off and go to the shop, and then down at the shop we're going to have to dig a similar hole and install a similar setup, but we'll have a line teeing off to go to the kiln, and we'll have one teeing off to go as a future expansion out to the sawmill and our garden area. So this one is ready. We're just letting the glue set up now, and we had to do a little bit of butcher work on our box, trying to figure out exactly where the holes go, and they really don't quite fit right. So even now, with the box slipped on it, when I shut those 2 ball valves off on the sides, the handle touches the side of the box, so it's tight. I can't really do anything about that, except when we install the next one, we will we'll cut the nipples in between each fitting a little bit shorter, so we can squeeze them together tight, and then maybe that'll help. If they're, what I'm talking about here is on these fittings, you can see like there's that 1/4 inch there, 1/4 to 3/8, so we'll cut that shorter to make sure that these 2 can totally shoulder up, make sure that this one can totally shoulder up, and that'll actually buy us close to a 1/2 inch, which in this situation makes a big difference. They do make a slightly larger box than that, but it's only slightly larger and costs about 2 to 3 times as much, at least at Home Depot. So we're gonna work with what we got. We got another one of those down in the shop. We will make it work. But for now, this one's done. We're just letting the glue dry, and once we pressure test it and leak test it, then we'll get the hole backfilled. All right, the final connections have been made here, for now at least, on the junction box. I don't remember if I showed you guys this the other day or not when I finished it, but the way we set it up again, line teeing out to the shop, line teeing out to, you know, potential future. It's just there. I really should have put, you know, a stub with a cap on it, but I didn't have a cap. And so basically I just threw dirt in against it. I mean, whenever I go, if I ever go to use it in the future, yeah, I'll have to clean a little dirt out of the end of the pipe. But that's okay. I can manage that. And then a line out to the house. And the nice thing now is we've got this split, so now we've got a true auxiliary. So if I ever have something go wrong in the house and have to shut the house off, we can still have water to the shop. So we can still have, you know, we're working on putting a bathroom in the shop, so we'll still have, you know, clean water to the shop, a bathroom in the shop, potentially someday, you know, a shower and everything else in the shop. So we could really kill the house for a while if we had a catastrophic event. Right now, the one out to the shop is shut off because it's open-ended on the other end. There'll be another box just like this. I might change the valve arrangement a little bit because these, basically, when I turn these handles on, they're right against the wall. So I'm going to try to figure out a different idea if I can on how to plumb it. Might face all the valves straight down. I got to see if that's going to work or not. I think it will if I face them all straight down and then turn them out the sides. Basically, this box has holes, you know, right there and on the other side. This is really meant for a water meter, so it's meant to have a pipe run in both sides through those holes, and then just have a meter and nothing else in here. But we're using it as a yard access box. So my pipes actually run out. My line coming in here and going out to the house, they're actually run out underneath the edge of the box. They don't go through those holes. So I very well could have made these other lines here run out underneath the edges as well. I just didn't really think about it until I'd already hooked them up, and so then I had to cut all these holes in the side to try to get the pipes to fit out. But I think for the one down by the shop, like I said, I'm going to try to turn those valves, the 2 valves that'll tee off, I'm going to try to turn them both straight down and then elbow out, so everything runs out under the edges. I won't have to cut any holes in the box, and I'll have better access to the valve handles. Anyway, the pipe is laid out to the shop. We've already backfilled over most of it, backfilled where it goes under the road. Of course, that was done because I poured the road over it the other day. I've got the ditch cut down there at the shop, but I've got to widen out the actual hole where the junction box is going to go, and I've got to get this filled back in. I just glued this connection here and that connection there, so I'm trying not to really mess with it and not throw dirt on it just right yet. Just let it sit, cure up really well. I'll get it covered up the rest of the way tomorrow. But this one, when I put this end in, I twisted it and spun it around, so it got really good glue contact there. So I went ahead and threw dirt on it. This one I wasn't able to twist it, so I just glued it really heavy, and now we're just gonna let it sit. So I can finish basically filling in. I just want to get all this dirt and crap out of the yard. We'll go ahead and throw our cap on here, and yeah, we'll be that much closer to done because the kiln showed up. It's here. So yeah, we need to get this done, get that water run to it, get that baby turned on. Show these people how you do it. Yeah, that's it. Ain't no punk. Get it. Get it. Haha, you're a natural, baby. Get you a little more and then you can shovel it out.
Daddy, I like that song.
I do too, baby. So just give you guys a little update here on the trenching and plumbing work. Long overdue, but I'm really happy to see the progress get made. We're currently cutting the line over to the kiln. The kiln showed up before I got it done, which I wanted to have all the plumbing and electrical done before the kiln showed up, but such is life. We made a 3-day, lost basically 3 days that week, 2-day trip to Missouri, and then installed cabinets the next day, and then I was just dead tired. So anyway, it is what it is. So the kiln's sitting there, not able to run because I don't have the utilities hooked up, but We're cutting the final ditch over to it. The last obstacle to cross is that electrical conduit, which is right in front of Mackenzie. We've already dug up, identified where it's at. We're gonna go under it. So our line from the pump house is all buried all the way down here. We've set the second box like I told you I was. And I did go ahead and set all the valves facing down on that upper box by the pump house. I put them going sideways, and then I had to cut those holes in the box, and it was just a total mess. And so with this one, we just pointed them all straight down, and it actually allows a lot more space in the box. But the valve configuration basically, or the valve layout, is exactly the same as the other one. So we come in the bottom of the box, we come up and over the top. We have 2 T's right here back to back. This valve goes out to the kiln, so we can shut the kiln off independently. This valve will go out, and it's gonna be a very long run over to the garden and sawmill someday. And this valve continues on to the shop, which we're gonna put a hydrant. We've got a freeze-proof hydrant we're gonna put right here, which we don't really need freeze-proof, but we got it, so we'll use it. So we're gonna bury a freeze-proof hydrant right here by this slab, so we've got a way to wash out buckets and bigger stuff outside. We will tee off a 3/4 line right over here to the shop. Maybe I've showed you guys that before, but this is basically the stub that we put in when we built the shop. So we'll tee off that, gets our water supply into the shop. And then we're gonna go ahead and continue with a ditch straight across the front, and we'll have that option out in the future, which we plan to put a whole barn back there. So getting this water run, the rest of the way, or making this next big step, is really, really huge for us. It should have been done a year ago when the shop was built. But again, like everything else, it is what it is. So anyway, just want to give you that little update. It's turned into quite the family affair. I got the kids out here helping. They see me work, and they want to learn to work too, which to me is just, it's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing for them to truly want to learn and to figure out these basic skills so many kids don't want to learn. Anyway, Joe had to go to town to get fittings for his sawmill, hydraulic fittings. So I'm gonna have him pick up some more pipe too, because I'm actually out of 10-foot sticks. I originally was gonna cross over to 3/4. I got a bunch of 3/4. I was originally gonna cross over to 3/4 here and run just 3/4 to the kiln. But the kiln does take a lot of water flow, or it demands a lot when it wants it. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and run 1.25 all the way. And that'll give me another option that on the back behind the kiln, I can tee off a hose bib / bleed line or whatever I need to. So just gonna go ahead and run 1.25 the whole way. Might as well, just to have the option. Well, the rain finally caught me. We got spared yesterday afternoon. It was supposed to rain, it got all black and nasty, and then passed over, and I thought I'd get lucky. But it popped up last night. I guess early this morning actually. Rained obviously pretty hard, which it probably didn't help the canopy shed a bunch of water into the hole. I'm out here walking around. It's been dry enough that the ground is actually still solid. It rained hard and fast, but it all caught here in the ditch. Anyway, that's not a water leak. That's the good news. That's not a water leak. It's just rainwater. But I'll have to give me a little bucket or something and bail all this out. I dug yesterday. We ran out of pipe, but I just kept digging just to try to stay busy. And I got dug over to here and dug this is where our hydrant's gonna stick up. We got a frost-free hydrant, which we never hardly freeze, but whatever, it is what it is. And I'm gonna continue on around the front of the shop. I think I mentioned that already. Joe went to get pipe this morning, and basically we're gonna finish running pipe out to the kiln to get it hooked up and running. We'll finish pipe here to the shop to get it hooked up, and then we'll just continue the ditch on past as far as we can until we run out of pipe, and then we'll just cap it off. Anyway, there's your update. Ditch is full of water. Okay, here's your update. We had a little rain the other day, caught me. I wasn't ready. I dug the ditch out a bunch, and then it rained and filled it all up. But I had this little aquarium pump right now. My wife gave me the other day. I used it to pump out most of it. And it was kind of funny actually, because as I was pumping it out, all my valves here were open. I've got that one closed now, but they were all open. And as I was pumping it out, I was pumping in this ditch, and I was like, man, it just seems like it's just not dropping. Like it's just not going down hardly at all. And then I looked over here and I noticed that this ditch was pumping out. And so I hadn't had that pipe in yet. I just had the end sticking out, and it was actually drawing a siphon from this ditch. And it was pulling it over here and pumping it out of this ditch. So I actually pumped out that whole ditch without even having to try. And then finished pumping this one out. I had to do a little bit of handiwork down in the bottom last night because there was just so much mud and silt that fell in. I got that connection glued last night, and I've got most of this already cut. This is where the hydrant's gonna go. So I've just got to go get the T fitting that goes there. I've got an 1 1/4 by 3/4 T that'll tee off to come over here for the hydrant. And then I've got some 3/4 pipe. So that's my next goal, is to get that hydrant done right now. Get it stood up here. The wind's blowing and it's kind of unstable today, like it might want to rain again. But if I can at least get this done, and then I can put a little stubble pipe going that way, or not even worry about it. But like I said, if I can get this put in, then I can backfill all that ditch. I can backfill all the rest of that ditch, and at least have this area here where we walk. I mean, this right here is where we walk to the shop, so we've been having to go out and around. And yeah, anyway, I'd like to get all this back, and then we'll continue on that way with our sewer pump and everything. But anyway, the hydrant's next here. Over here, I just got up out of this ditch, just glued in these other joints of pipe. You can see we tunneled underneath of our electrical conduit. So that's our electrical conduit going power to the shop. So I just tunneled underneath of it and came right up on the slab. And then right here at the edge of the kiln, we're just gonna run, gosh darn it. We're just gonna turn right here and just run right along underneath the edge of the kiln. I was gonna run it against the base of the shop, but then I thought if I build a wall here and I set a wall on that slab, then the pipe would be right in the way of the wall. And I didn't want to run the pipe like a couple inches off the wall just in case. So I just said, no, instead let's just bring it over here. There's nothing else under the kiln. It's just wide open. So we'll just run it right here to the edge and then turn and run underneath the edge so we're not tripping over it. And I'll just build a little plywood ramp there, you know, to step over the pipe whenever I'm walking through here. So that's done. That's up out of the ditch at least. So if it rains and the ditch gets muddy and water in it, I don't care. Might see if I can go trick the kids, tell the kids, you know, it's real fun. Tell them they can come play in the mud and see if I can't trick them into filling that ditch in for me. But yeah, I'm gonna start working and try to get this hydrant put up. Now the inspector's here. I don't know. She doesn't seem too happy. Gosh. Guess I pissed her off again. I don't know how. What'd I do wrong? What did I do? I don't know. She just is cussing at me and walking away. Great. Anyway, here's the final connection to the shop. Went ahead and ran. You can see I've got quite a little bit of a flex there, but that's okay. When I went ahead and ran out to here, this is our cold supply going into the shop. So we've teed up off our 1 1/4, and then we've teed off here a 3/4, and for right now we're just going to stub this out. We had talked about maybe right here on this corner of the shop in the future building a little outdoor shower. So if we go swimming in the pond, then we can get out of the pond and we can come right here and shower off and have kind of a nice little sort of decorative outdoor shower. So we've stubbed this off just as an option. We may never do it. And if we don't, look at that. Oh, I got a bowl of green beans for me too. Look at that.
And potatoes.
Potatoes, tomatoes. Ooh, I'm excited about those tomatoes. So anyway, we may never use it. If we don't, it'll just be buried up there, but it's always there as an option. So now I've got to extend on from here. So the shop is now officially hooked up. Inside, I've glued on a ball valve and an adapter to switch over to PEX. So that's actually done. So now I've just got to come off of here, and I'm going to try to go out another 10 foot if I can. I don't know. I don't really feel like doing it right now, but I would like to. I need to. We'll see how much time I got. But I need to try to go at least another 10 feet if I can and lay a stick out there, and then we'll just cap it off for now. And then that way the shop is, like, everything to the shop is done. And then I'll have to go around to the kiln and wrap around to the kiln. But yeah, at least this part here is done, and the extension will be done shortly. Okay, now it's done for now. Ultimately, this 1 1/4 line will continue all the way out to the tree line. That doesn't have to happen right now. So for right now, this leg of the plumbing is done. Done. I can bury it all back up if I want to, put rock over it if I want to. So now we just got to go around on the kiln and finish. Yeah, you can see it sneaking through the tree right there against the kiln. I just got to wrap around underneath the kiln. That's easy money. Easy money. Just sitting on the concrete slab, gluing pipe. All right, well, we're just going through hydro testing the new plumbing expansion, and before you freak out, that water is because it rained last night. It all ran off the shop roof right here and filled this little ditch. My ditch over there didn't get any. It rained, I say last night, yesterday afternoon. It rained, you know, just a little summer pop-up storm. Rained real hard for a couple minutes, that was it. Anyway, so just this morning, I went ahead and turned on the valve up there at the house. that runs this leg down here. So the only other valve that we put in up here was an auxiliary for, you know, potential future expansion. So it's gonna, you know, stay closed for the foreseeable future unless we decide to hook into it. I'm a little bothered. I just went through this ditch and I intentionally drove with one tire in the ditch on the tractor to try to pack it down, but it was much wetter than I realized. And in doing so, a couple spots, like right in here and right up there, the pipe was actually, here's a spot. The pipe is showing right at surface, and I think it might have floated up. See, I can step on it and mash it back down, so I think it might have actually floated up a little bit because it was full of air. I don't really know what to do about that, other than maybe drive along it with the tractor again on purpose, just real slow, and see if I can mash it down. But I really don't want to break the dang thing. So it may just stay there at that shallow depth. I don't know that, or I'm gonna have to go along. I may have to go along and dig back up beside it and kind of cut a new trench deeper and then drop it over into that trench. But for right now, I'm not gonna bother fixing anything with the pipe unless the pipe leaks. So we got the pipe under test right now, which I don't see anything springing up, so that's good. There could be a real slow, if there's a real slow seep at a coupling, I really don't care, as long as it doesn't create a perpetual wet spot in the yard or get worse over time. So we came down here to our box here, and first we dumped open the valve. Again, this is rainwater, which is interesting because I had all that packed with clay that wasn't packed hard. I don't know how all this rainwater got in. Maybe just it very easily could have migrated beside the pipe, but it's definitely rainwater because it's not filling it. It was here this morning before I turned the valves on. Anyway, so this valve goes out to the kiln. Blast it open. I guess you guys can't hear it, but so it's holding, it's not running, and it looks like our kiln slab is angled right. There we go. Super high flow rate. That's awesome. I love good high flow rate. I love to have plenty of water supply. Okay, so that one off. This one goes out for future garden expansion. This one goes to the shop, and we've stubbed up over there. I went ahead and went in the shop and just stuck a piece of PEX on that nipple in there, cracked that valve just to blow the air out of the system. And we also have our hydrant right here. Super good flow rate on the hydrant. So for right now, everything's sitting stagnant. I shouldn't say stagnant, sitting stable. Nothing appears, there's definitely not any big leaks. Like I said, if there's this little seep somewhere, I don't know how I'll know since there's already water in the ditch. It'd have to be a very heavy leak. But anyway, it looks good so far. I'm basically gonna let it sit all day today and make sure nothing changes. And if nothing changes throughout the course of the day today, then we'll probably start backfilling. I want to go ahead and get the rest of this ditch here backfilled, get this one backfilled through here at least. Try to get all this brought back up where it needs to be so we're not tripping over it. And I think I used up all my rock. I pretty well spread all my rock. I was hoping to have enough rock that I could throw some in here, but oh well, you know, I used it for what it was bought for. It was bought for the road. We may have to buy some more. Well, ultimately, we're going to have to buy some more because all this in here has to be rocked to have good all-weather access into the kiln. Anyway, so for right now, it looks like the water lines are holding. I was just going to mention that little hydro test, and I guess I'll let you know if anything fails. If not, that's probably it for the video.